Well, it's September. Essendon isn't playing men's football. And I'm doing a podcast. I don't want to be doing a podcast. This is usually when I take a break, have a detox, relax a little bit. And yeah, instead the sky is falling. It is the end of days. We should declare martial law. Get out your pitchforks. I'm very upset. It has been a very long week. I was really hoping this was going to blow over, and it has not. And what seemed unthinkable 6 weeks ago seems the reality. And we're now in a position where we're talking about an Essendon captain wanting to be traded to Hawthorn. And apologies to people who don't like profanities, because there's going to be a fair bit of it this week, or tonight, today, whenever you're listening, because sometimes a four-letter word is the best way to describe it. But this is fucked. This is well and truly fucked. His behaviour, the way this has gone about is fucked. The fact that the club has let this happen is fucked. How we've reacted is fucked. How I feel is fucked. And the next few years of Essendon are also likely to be fucked. But welcome, faithful, and I assume on YouTube, opposition supporters who've come to watch us be dramatic and upset. Hello to you all. Please fucking, I don't know, be kind.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. I was going to tell them to go do something like, but I was like, no, I don't need to insult them. They didn't do anything wrong.
To be honest, everyone's given me a lot of sympathy who goes for another team so far. Everyone's like, fuck, this really sucks. You guys just cop it and cop it and cop it and cop it. I haven't had anyone laugh. I've had everyone just be like, you know, you guys deserve a break. And we don't fucking get it.
I think proper footy fans who are passionate, who understand the highs and lows of football, are sympathetic. I think those half-rate supporters who just like to throw jabs and are generally just shit supporters are probably throwing barbs. But the people who, you know, are passionate about their teams and have seen them suffer are the ones who understand. Are like, gee, mate, you know, you guys are going through it. Joel, thank you for joining me, this emergency podcast that we've had to do at short notice. I'll ask you a very simple question. What the fuck is going on?
I'm also fucking annoyed. I've experienced a range of emotions over the last few days. And initially it was just like, oh, this is just bullshit. It's going to blow over. This isn't real. Yeah. To then obviously everything setting in and, you know, initially being like angry that we sort of pushed Zach away. And now I'm at the stage where I'm mostly angry at Zach. You know, I think we've said on this podcast for quite a few years or joked, you know, if Zach went to go play somewhere else, no one would begrudge him. And that's still how I felt when I first heard this news. But now the way that it's played out and the way that he's gone about it, and to be honest, the fact that he's met Hawthorn's coach, like every Essendon fan fucking hates Hawthorn. Every Essendon fan fucking hates Sam Mitchell. He's the smuggest prick. And for us to have our captain go and meet him, you know, without talking to the club about it. And, you know, a year after he knocked back an offer from St Kilda and committed to the club, I actually just think is pretty fucking snaky. And I don't know if I'm just super emotional right now, but I'm really, really off Zach Merrett, and I will be booing him if he plays for Hawthorn next year.
With the 7 stages of grief, where do we sit right now? Like, I feel like we're past shock and denial. Is this pain and guilt? Is this anger? Is this depression? Where are you at? Are you at anger right now? Is that where you are?
I'm definitely in anger. I'm definitely in anger.
Yeah. It's
depression. We're depressed constantly as Essendon supporters, so I don't know if we get to go to that stage. That stage is perennially existing. So here we are.
Yeah, exactly. We can't go through depression when we are already there
all
of the time. Yeah, this is mind-boggling. Like, this is absolutely mind-boggling because, like, 7 weeks ago, he was on AFL 360 and he's saying how he's buying in, he's in for the vision, he's really happy with what we're doing at the club. But clearly he was lying because this is the thing. You don't make a decision like this overnight. You're not sitting there 6 weeks ago being like, gee, I'm really excited about the young guys who are coming in. I see the belief. I think I'm going to be a part of building something and hoping to be a part of building Essendon's future. You don't just wake up one day 6 weeks later and go, I'm going to go talk to Sam Mitchell. I'm going to go talk to the Hawks. I'm going to go explore my options. So clearly that was a lie. Like, you were lying in saying that, which is the first thing. Now, I don't know where I want to go with this because there's reading online, there are obviously the people who are like, well, the club's fucked, why would you blame him? And then there are people who are like, well, he's a snake, why is he doing this? Both people are right in their analysis. The club hasn't been great, but Zach's behaviour is also very poor. They could not have gone about this the worst way. To take the contract extension, to take the money at the start of the year or late last year, whenever it was, and then to act like this as the captain is unspeakable. If Zach Merrett wasn't Essendon's captain, let's just say he was still the same player he is today, but he's not the captain. Someone else is. McGrath, for simplicity. Let's say McGrath's the captain. He's not. Then we're going, well, gee, this sucks. Our big money player's leaving. But how I view an AFL captain, and this is me speaking as a Nuffy supporter who played amateur footy and terribly at that, is that when you accept to become the captain of your club, you accept that you're going to be a role model, a leader, and a part of the fabric and the history of this club. You're not just another player. You're something special. You're going to be on the fucking honour boards, hopefully with a premiership next to your name, but that's who you are. And so by accepting the captaincy, you're accepting a long-term commitment to this footy club. Now, I know there are examples of captains of other clubs who, in their times past as a captain, they may have done a year somewhere else, but that's generally on good terms. I can't think in modern day, in my memory, a captain still in his prime, because he's still a great player, who has decided to walk out on his club with years on his deal. Now, again, it seems like this is the reality. It seems like this is what's happening. He hasn't spoken yet. The silence is deafening. And I think it needs to make it clear. Like, if you're going, come out and say you're requesting a trade, and the club can say, well, okay, we're going to get the best deal we can out of you, or you come out and apologise that you've made a mistake. But either way, this has been handled so poorly. So poorly. The fact that it's leaked through the press, and the coach, the CEO, the leadership group are blindsided by it. Like, if at the start of this season he was like, oh, I'm not going to take the fucking pay increase. Hey, Brad, look, I don't think I see my future here. End this season, I want to get traded. That sucks, but we'll deal. But like, this is really, like you said, snake. It is very snaky behaviour, the way that this has transpired.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's obviously Zach has been the way that we've all felt about Zach throughout his whole career is still valid. He is an Essendon champion. He's going to win his 6th best and fairest shortly at an award ceremony. He's probably not going to. So in everything that we're saying, we're not kind of throwing out the fact that he has been an Essendon champion up until now. However, like, his reputation is clearly going to be tarnished by this. And, it used to be Zach could do no wrong. And now that I kind of reflect back on it, there's a number of incidents where, Zach, so in 2020, he was kicked out of the leadership group. He has expressed a lot of leaks seem to get out to the media about Essendon, and Merrett is really active. He's often getting coffees with people. He's often getting coffees with opposition ex-players and that sort of thing. And then, this is the second time in a couple of years that he's now kind of put the club through the ringer by exploring options elsewhere. None of that is kind of captain behaviour, and clearly it's something that Brad Scott kind of also acknowledged. He said Zach has his process and Zach has his flaws, as all leaders do. But as you said, as a captain of the footy club, one of your main if not the main responsibility, is to represent that brand and represent that footy club and back the footy club to the hilt in every single way possible. And he's now had multiple incidents where this hasn't happened. And I just don't see it being... I like that, whether it is messy, but I like that we've had some people like Redmond and Martin come out and, you know, back the footy club and back Brad Scott and say that this has blindsided them, because at least you can see some passion from elsewhere. And obviously it's getting ugly, but like, you know what? If you don't want to be there and you think you can go elsewhere, then go elsewhere. No, it'd be super hard to play for him now. It'd be super hard to play alongside him now. And, we've been such an average club for such a long time. We need everyone 100% on board and into the vision. And even if you're a superstar, if you're not about that, and particularly if you're a leader and you're not about that, then you just can't be there and you can't be a leader, because it's going to keep holding us back.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right.
And we were speaking throughout the year, particularly the second half of the year, about Zach's body language. We spoke about it quite a number of times on the show.
We did.
That he looks disinterested, or he looked like he's frustrated, you know, and clearly this is, as you said, it's not just a last minute thing, even though he said that shit on AFL 360 a few months ago. So like, we were noticing it, and that's also uncaptain-like. Like, yeah, he still tried hard, but he looked a little bit disinterested as well with his teammates at the time, and it's kind of all adding up.
Yeah, it's been very interesting, like the last day or so, just, you know, with hindsight, people just picking out different things that have happened over the last few years, being like, oh, if you look at that now with this lens, it does seem a bit strange, some of the behaviour. Like the one that rang to me, and I thought this was weird at the time, but do you remember at the start of the year, he got interviewed talking about, it was about like the money in the game and stuff. And he basically said, we should cut the list sizes and give the best players way more money. That was what he said. My take would be to reduce the size of the list and then inflate the best player salaries, reward those guys who've been the best players, and then improve the product, which, like, let's be real, is a very selfish take. He is the best player at the club. There's no denying that fact, and he deserves the money that he's been paid. But if your opinion of the game is that you should cut the list size and just make sure he's getting paid a lot of money, that seems a bit selfish. There's people on both sides of this thing already. So, like, funnily enough, Kane Corns is the one who's coming to bat for the club, saying how the way Zach's approached this is poor, how he's gone nuclear, how he's behaved poorly. And then you've got Matthew Lloyd, who's backing Zach Merrett, saying that the club needs to have a good, hard look at themselves. I find this really, really... It's Essendon is between a rock and a hard place, because it doesn't take a genius to know that last year and the year before, we have not had a good list. And people who think we did it, like they're kidding themselves. Now, there've been mistakes, and I can see why he's been angry at those mistakes. Yeah, we fucked up with D'Ambrosio, we fucked up with Paddy Voss, and things of whatever, that those transpired for different reasons. He's also had his mates shafted out of the club. Like Jake Stringer's gone, Nick Hines gone, Laverty seems like he's gone. Two of those guys are laughing on social media about it. And let's be honest, like, as much as we love Jake at the peak of his powers, he's not that good anymore. He's clogging up the GWS forward line, running into his other players' leading patterns and not really doing much. And Nick Hines playing, I don't know, country footy or something. So this is the guy who has been our, like you said, the man who can do no wrong, the poster child for the club. But his circle that he's kept at Essendon hasn't been the best. You know, they are the Fortnite boys, and none of those guys have been a really good example of like what Essendon stands for. Jaden Laverty tries his guts out, I'll give him that, and maybe he's there. But like everything that I've been told, particularly about Jake, particularly about Hind and some of the ways that they behaved at the club, was like, well, that's not what you want. Now, who else are his friends at the club? I don't know, because I feel like those are the guys. They're the guys he started his little crappy clothing label with. And he's rightfully upset. But where am I going with this? I guess what I'm trying to say is that 2 years ago, he like it was clear to see where, well, at least a year ago, it was very clear to see where we needed to be going, and these discussions would have been happening for some time. Yet he's still happy to do that. Now, I think Zach Merrett is a good enough player, assuming his body holds up, that he can play another 5 years of footy, and a lot can happen in that time. But to suddenly just go, I'm pulling the eject cord, and I'm going to try and go to a club that are in the window and get something as a captain just seems a bit, I don't know, it just seems a bit rich to me. Like, is Zach Merrett genuinely rolling into Essendon at the start of pre-season last year going, this club, this team can win a final? Like, is anyone genuinely thinking that they could? Because I didn't. I don't think many people did. Like, we all were like, gee, this is a shallow team. That, you know, there's a fair bit to go on here. It just like, either he's been lying for a long time,
Yep.
or this is the biggest 360 we've ever seen.
Yep. I think I'm going to pick up on a word you mentioned then earlier on, and it was selfish, and that's probably something that's kind of ticked over in my head a little bit as well. As I started to think, I think, you know, if I think about Stringer and Hind and some of the things you mentioned and what I've heard, their behaviour, maybe it's a little bit like bratty. And then it is kind of selfish. So if we take a step back, so he's asked the club for more money, as we've spoken about. He's demanded an extension. Otherwise, he's going to consider stuff elsewhere whilst he was still captain. We didn't begrudge him that at the time. It was like, yep, you know what? It is going to be a long journey, but he decided to then recommit to the club. Now he's saying, oh, I've only got a few years left in me. I want to go and get success, but he wants success for himself. It doesn't actually sound like he wants team success. You know, is he saying I want to win a premiership with all my mates and be a part of that team and contribute? Or is he saying like, I want a flag, I want this? And it just kind of feels to me a little bit like, as you said, he's making decisions really about himself, and it's not even about the greater good. And that's, again, it's not necessarily captain actions or behaviour being able to do that. And I agree, if he wasn't the captain, this would be really hurtful, but it would be a little bit more understandable. And that just changes everything. And Essendon is liable. Like, let's not sit here and say the club is, you know, an angel in this whole situation. We have put Zach in a bad situation again and again and again and again. And he has stuck by us for a while. So, like, the club and the administration and everything that's happened over his 250 game career is liable to like where things have gotten to as well. It doesn't change the fact that the way he's acting is really, really poor and is going to make it a super sour exit when it eventually happens.
Oh, I mean, this is an unmitigated disaster for the club. Like, this is the worst thing that the club has happened to the club since they hired that CEO for fucking 24 hours. Like, because that was an absolute disaster. That was as bad as it comes. Like, I feel like we've had a good couple of years of not having to have one of these crisis moments at Essendon, but suddenly we're back here again, and it's a scenario that I don't think any of us envisioned. Like, I always envisioned Zach Merrett being in the Essendon team when it came good, whenever that was be, because I do believe he has longevity as a player because he's so skillful that he could end up playing half forward later in his career, or half back, or just like a really outside sort of midfield role where he doesn't have to be doing the brunt of the work like he does now. Like, I think he's got more time. He may not see it that way. And now he's chatted to Hawthorn, and everyone will go, oh, well, he's going to go to Hawthorn. But this thing, the Sharks will come now. Like, there are other clubs in the competition now who are in their window, who see themselves having success and go, oh, Zach Merrett might be available. Like, he might not go to Hawthorn. He could go to other places. There's going to be other clubs coming for this now. I'll ask you a question, though, Joel. If Zach Merrett comes out next week after, sometime between now and the grand final, and like, you know, trade window, he comes out and he apologised and said, look, you know, I was misguided, I was misjudged, I wasn't exactly seeking a trade, but I thought it was good to talk around, blah, blah, I'm committed. One, would you have him back playing for the team next season? And two, would you have him back as the captain?
I definitely wouldn't have him back as captain. That bridge is burnt. He's had, this is a multiple, issues, over a couple of years. So I wouldn't have him back as captain. I wouldn't be able to play for him if I was a player and believe that he had our vision in mind. So definitely not. Whether he should be back as a player is a really tough one. I think he would have to do a lot of work to gain the trust back of the rest of the group. And I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that. I think, look, he's a quality player, obviously, and he's been our best player for a really long time. But, you have someone who doesn't turn up to their Essendon best and fairest, which he probably is going to win, which is what everyone's talking about now, then decides to come back. Like, I don't know if you can have that. I think we're now also most forced into a position as a club where we have to sort of be like, we're taking a stand, and if you want out, like, you are out.
Yeah.
But the club has to play hardball in terms of the trade table and say we're keeping him, so that whatever value we can get is there. But I don't know. I feel like maybe I would say no. I don't think he can come back at all.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's crazy. And look, this is the short term of this on field is that without Zach Merrett in this team, we are going to be awful. Awful. Like, Essendon is in genuine wooden spoon territory next season. And like, I don't say that lightly. I'm not like, this isn't me glazing over it. Like, you look at the games that we won this year, and there were some close games in there. There were several of those where Zach was a stand at best on ground performance. Like North Melbourne, he willed us over the line. I think maybe the Sydney game off the top of my head was also one of those games for us. But there was a couple where he literally willed us over the line. Now, someone else potentially can do some of that role, but not to the skill level that Zach has done so far. No one has proved that they can do that. That's just a fact. So we are in genuine spoon territory next year, and the next few years are going to be really grim. And look, maybe long term, in 6 years, we can look back and go, wow, look at what happened. They got rid of Zach left and they got all these guys in, and look how they all turned out, and well, the Bombers are in a great place now. But short term, this is going to suck. And it's already been sucking because it feels like we haven't gone anywhere for 3 years. Like, the detractors of Brad Scott's, the Merretts of this world have gone, what the fuck have we been doing for 3 years? Why were we playing Jake Kelly and Sam Wiedemann for so long over kids? Why have we kept all these wasteful players on board? And, like, why are we regressing? The great fear of having Brad Scott come in was that we were going to become another North Melbourne, was that he was going to cut the list too deep. We were going to cut too far, keep digging down the mines, and then we were going to be stuck down there for God knows how long. And if Zach Merrett is walking out of this club, which it seems like it's happening, we're going to be stuck there for some time. And I'd like to think that we can get some good talent and bounce back, but footy's hard. And losing a player of his calibre, of what he can do on the field, is such a huge loss. Now, off-field's different because, again, I don't know, like, what he's like with the other players. Like, as a fan, Zach Merrett is a great captain because he's our best player, he plays well, he wears his heart in his sleeve, and he's someone that you as an Essendon supporter can go, that's our captain. Look how good he is, look how much he tries, he's such a great individual. God, we're lucky to have him. But as a player, he might not be a great captain because he might not be able to have those good conversations off field to help players, to be that person who speaks well, who educates well, as opposed to just being do what I do, I'm really good, that's how you should play. So, I don't know. Is he a good captain off field? I can't tell you. There's a lot of people now on social media, again, starting to pull out little things that he said here and there and be like, oh, does this mean this? Does this mean that? And it's all great in hindsight, but the reality is on field, we are going to be worse significantly because he is that good of a player.
He is that good of a player. Hey, you've played 250 games and you haven't won a final. Maybe you're the fucking problem. You ever think about that, Zach?
Yeah, how dare you have 30 and 3 goals, you crap footballer?
Yeah.
No.
Obviously, he's not the problem. Mertz, a lot of Mertz points are really valid. We have made some mistakes over the last few years where my view and Mertz's view kind of clashes the most, I think, and because a lot of the points he make almost convince me, but then I just think how hard it is to turn a club around that has had it's been that much of an old boys club for so long. It's spent that much time trying to just rebuild fan support post Saga that it hasn't done anything hard. It's, had coaches that were happy to commit to like poor standards. It takes years and years and years and years to unwind all those terrible aspects of culture and get every single person on the same page. And that's the board level, the list management, the coach, the senior players, the A players, the B players, the C players. Every single person has to come on that journey, and that takes a really long time. And look, even Disarray had a really big impact on how our club was shaping and who was in the team over Brad Scott's first and second year. And now we've seen Matt Rosa come in, and he looks like he's making some good decisions. So I still think that there is a future for Brad Scott. And even though things are tough, I think there is, it just is hard to turn things around so quickly. But then it can happen really, really quickly once all those things are in place. So yes, next year probably will be tough. Who knows? Let's say we do bring in a Zach Bailey. We do bring in a Starcevic. We do bring in a...
Don't come, Zach. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Please,
Run.
please.
Stay away.
One Zach for another Zach.
Yeah.
Maybe my 2027 prediction could still happen. Who knows? It's looking worse and worse and worse and worse. But I think things can turn around quickly. And who knows? Maybe Zach out lifts a cloud from everyone else, and maybe everyone's like, all right, well, we're all still fucking here and we're all still going, and it bonds everyone together. Everyone kind of, you grow as a team and you grow as people who stay through hardship, and maybe this is just another chapter in us getting better. But we're not going to know if that's the case for a while.
No, we're not. We're not. Yeah, this is, I don't know, this, like, Draper leaving, I was like, this is actually a bit of a blessing, I think. Like, as much as I love Draper and he's, been so fun to watch, he wasn't worth the money. Jordan Ridley, I do genuinely think will never play as good as he has been because of his body. But this is different level. This is absolutely a different level sort of conversation that we're having now. And like, I don't know what else, like, I don't know what else the club can do at this point. Like, let's say it gets traded, we get whatever in return, whatever we think's of value. Like, I don't think you can then blow up the club further than that. Like, like if Merrett leaves, what are we just going to sack the whole board as well, get a new coach, and just start again, and just go down another one of these cycles? Like, I'm not sure. Like, yeah, we are in disarray. Absolute disarray right now.
Yep. That's true. It's a shit place to be, and only time's going to tell how it all continues to play out. But as you said at the start, I was hoping for a pretty relaxed final series, and starting to maybe get a little bit excited as the trade and free agency period came close and the draft period came close, maybe start thinking about footy again. But I've had a couple of weeks ruined by the Ridley news, and then obviously Merrett. I agree. I think Ridley and Draper, obviously I'd love Ridley to stay as well, but will he ever be able to play a full season? Who knows? If he goes up to Brizzy and he can't get on the park that much, then it's probably going to work out in our favour in the long run.
Yeah.
Same as Drapes, but yeah, this one was a fucking kick in the guts.
Oh, like I've been very flat this week, and what this popped up as me being like, this is nothing, has genuinely turned into like the worst point of the season. And I thought the worst point of the season was every week that we got belted by 100 points, because I know this year was crazy with injuries and all that kind of stuff, but like it kind of feels like we're going backwards. And if Zach Merrett leaves, we're not going to. I don't think we win as many games. I think we win less. Cool. We'll blood some more kids. We'll keep building. We'll hope, because we all have hope. We're foolish for having hope. But yeah, this is going to be really tough. Like, I constantly think of that scene. I think it's the Simpsons movie, or maybe it's an episode, but it's that scene where Bart's like, this is the worst day of my life. And Homer says, this is the worst day of your life so far. That is what being an Essendon supporter is like. Every time I think we've hit rock bottom, there is another layer of hell that we haven't gone down to. Like, I don't think there's a club in this competition at this point now who have gone through the ringer more than us in 20 years. Now, I know there are clubs who've struggled on field. I know North have been awful for 10 years. I know West Coast have had, like, statistically the worst season ever this year. I know St Kilda have won one flag ever. But, like, we are the bottom. We are the absolute bottom. And this supporter base, it is like Brad said other clubs are jealous of our supporters for how rusted on they are. But this is another thing that's just going to mean that more supporters are going to go, maybe I don't go to that game next year. Maybe I don't sign back up. Like, you know, I contemplate giving up this podcast every fucking season because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of Essendon being shit.
Yeah.
I'm sick of having to front up to have these conversations, and I kind of don't want to at some points. And
we wouldn't begrudge you for doing that. However, if you started the season and then started showing up on the Hawthorn pod 8 weeks into the season, then it would go a similar way as the Merrett thing.
Yeah, you can catch me on Hawks Insiders. Now that I'm a fucking turncoat Judas, you can catch me over there every single week. But yeah, look, Joel, I'm really flat. We're all hurting right now. This is an absolute terrible week, and what needs to happen right now is that the current Essendon captain needs to come out and either tell us the truth that he's leaving or put this to bed that he's not, and we can make the right call that we need to. No one's bigger than the club. That's the mentality that we have to take. Otherwise, we may as well just pack things up and shut the place down and find something else to do with our lives. Because, this is an unmitigated disaster. There's no question about it.
No question. Look, this has been very cathartic. Obviously, it's we're both highly emotional, definitely in that anger and disappointment phase. And, you know, maybe we'll feel differently soon. But, it's I agree it's been a shit week. But I'm glad I was able to vent, and I'm very much looking forward to reading the comments after as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a really yucky feeling, just to think that, you know, he's going to quit. He's going to quit on us after all he's put through. You know, he's basically put in all this time, and then he's going to go fuck a prostitute to lose his virginity. Like, that's basically what he's doing. Like, that's where we're at.
Yeah,
that's
but
where
look,
we're
that's
at. You
that's
put in all
also
the
not
hard yards, and now you're just going to take the cheap out because
okay.
What, you haven't got it in you anymore?
Yeah.
Like, either you're a liar or you're a quitter, or this whole thing is made up. But it's one of those.
Yeah. And you're not guaranteed success by going. Like, obviously, you've probably got a lot more of a chance than you do with us.
Mate,
but
the Hawks,
you know, it could turn out to be a terrible decision.
Mate, they'll be unbelievable if they have Zach Merrett. Pains me to say it. They'll be unbelievable. But
they're already very good.
And we're a basket case, and we're a rabble, and we're not in a good space right now. And, you know, I've championed the rebuild very hard. I've been pro rebuild for some time, and rebuilds come with costs, and it comes with casualties. And there's been players that I really like who have gone, but this was not one that I had in my book. This was not one that I was anticipating. And I don't think many of us did. We're all go, I'm happy to see Parrish go. I'm happy to see, I'd be okay if Draper leaves. Oh, yeah, obviously we can get rid of Stringer, get rid of these guys. I can deal with that. But no one had this in their book. No one had this in their book was, they're someone we can leave as part of the rebuild. I think we had like 6 players who were, you have to keep, and he was one of them. He was probably the first name on the list. And look, we'll see what comes out of this but at the moment, he looks terrible. He looks like Judas, and the club look like they've lost control. I don't think there's no winners out of this right now, except for the other 17 clubs in the AFL who will all be going, ooh, Zach Merrett's on the market. And we'll still be sitting here, not playing finals, not winning shit. I'm hurting, Joel. I'm fucking hurting.
I'm fucking hurting too.
Oh, we'll wrap it up there. See ya, people.
Thanks.
Go Dons.